The lady from the church asked me to pray for her husband's soul. I said, "Of course, when did he die?" And she answered, "Tomorrow." No child should die alone. That's why I decided to let my son invite some friends over. Someone started having a coughing fit at my workplace. The problem is that I work alone in a morgue. Never knock on your door from the inside at dawn. The devil can knock on the outside. These macabre stories and others that can't be told on the channel, you'll see in the Cursed ebook. The link is in the comments. Buy it now. In the heart of a forgotten town stood a store like no other, a mirror store. Its windows were dusty, obscuring their reflections within. The sign above the door read the rules before entering, but few heeded the warning. They were drawn in by the antique allure of the place, unaware of the horrors that awaited. Emily, a young woman with a taste for the macabre, stumbled upon the store one foggy evening. The bell above the door chimed eerily as she entered, and a shiver ran down her spine. The air was heavy with a scent of old wood and something else, something metallic. A chill seemed to emanate from the mirrors themselves. The store was filled with mirrors of all shapes and sizes, tall, ornate frames, and tiny hand mirrors. Each reflection seemed to ripple with an unsettling quality. Emily's curiosity got the better of her as she wandered deeper into the store, her eyes drawn to a particularly old-looking mirror in the corner. As Emily approached the mirror, a note stuck to its frame caught her attention. It read, "Rule 1. Never look into the mirror for more than 3 minutes." She chuckled at the absurdity of the rule, dismissing it as mere superstition. The mirror's surface was dark, almost as if it had a life of its own. Ignoring the note, Emily found herself drawn to the mirror's depth. The reflections seemed to shimmer and shift, showing scenes of places she didn't recognize. A sense of unease crept over her, but she was entranced, unable to look away. The minutes ticked by slowly as she stared into the abyss. Suddenly, the reflection in the mirror changed. Emily saw her own face, but it looked different, pale and distorted, with eyes that seemed to plead for help. Panic surged through her as she realized the reflection was not just a mere image, but something more sinister. Her heart raced as she glanced at the clock on the wall. Rule 2. Never touch the mirror. The words were clear, but Emily had already broken the first rule. She felt an inexplicable urge to reach out and touch the mirror's surface, as though it was calling to her. Her fingers grazed the cold glass, and a sharp jolt of electricity shot through her. The mirror's surface rippled like water, and Emily saw her reflection being pulled towards it. She tried to pull her hand away, but it was as if the mirror had a grip on her. Her surroundings blurred, and the room seemed to distort and twist. A chilling realization dawned on her. She was becoming part of the reflection. Desperation set in as Emily struggled to free herself, but the more she fought, the tighter the mirror's grip became. She heard whispers, faint and eerie, coming from the mirror. They were voices, but not of anyone she recognized. They spoke in hushed tones, recounting stories of those who had been trapped before her. Emily's mind raced with thoughts of escape, but the mirror seemed to feed on her fear, growing stronger with every moment. She remembered the third rule scrawled on a dusty piece of parchment nearby. Rule 3. Leave before the reflection shows you its true face. Her reflection was now unrecognizable, twisted into something malevolent. In her panic, Emily glanced around the store, looking for any way out. The other mirrors seemed to watch her, their reflections shifting as if they were alive. The store itself seemed to pulse with a dark energy, as though it was feeding off her terror. Her breaths came in shallow gasps as she fought to break free. Rule 4. Do not let your reflection follow you. Emily was terrified to turn around, but she could feel the presence of her distorted reflection lingering behind her. It was as if it was waiting for the right moment to make its move. She knew she had to act quickly or risk being consumed by the mirror's dark magic. With a final surge of strength, Emily yanked her hand away from the mirror and stumbled backwards. The store seemed to close in around her, the mirrors now reflecting her frantic movements. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, as if they were urging her to stay. She had to resist their lure. As Emily fled through the store, she felt a cold hand brush against her shoulder. She whirled around, but there was no one there. The mirrors reflected only her panicked face, but she could sense something watching her, something that wanted to drag her back into the abyss. The store's exit seemed to be miles away, the path twisting and turning like a labyrinth. The reflections in the mirrors shifted and warped, creating illusions that threatened to disorient her. Emily's fear mounted with every step, and she could feel the oppressive weight of the mirrors closing in on her. Rule 5. Never return. The warning was clear, but Emily's mind was too frazzled to fully comprehend it. She just wanted to escape, to get as far away from the mirrors as possible. The store's eerie atmosphere seemed to cling to her, as if it was trying to pull her back inside. Emily burst through the door, her heart pounding as she stumbled into the cold night air. The fog had thickened, obscuring her vision. She glanced back at the store, but it was already fading into the mist, its dark windows now just a distant memory. She had escaped, but the terror of what she had experienced remained. As she walked away from the store, Emily felt a strange sense of unease. The reflections of the street lamps seemed to flicker and shift, as if the store's dark influence had followed her outside. She tried to shake off the feeling, but the whispers of the mirrors echoed in her mind. That night, Emily couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the distorted reflections from the mirror. The whispers grew louder, more persistent, as if they were trying to invade her dreams. She felt as though the mirrors were calling to her, wanting her to return. Days passed, but Emily's sense of normalcy was shattered. She avoided mirrors, fearing that they might draw her back to the store. Her once vibrant world now seemed dull and gray, as if the store's malevolent presence had seeped into every corner of her life. Rule 6. Those who break the rules are never truly free. Emily's mind often returned to this chilling rule. It was as if the store had marked her, ensuring that its influence would linger long after she had left. She tried to live a normal life, but the shadows of the mirrors haunted her every step. One evening, while walking down a quiet street, Emily saw an old, familiar reflection in a shop window. Her heart stopped as she recognized the twisted face from the mirror. It was as if the store's malevolent force had found a way to reach her through the reflections of the world outside. Desperate for answers, Emily sought out old records and stories about the mirror store. She discovered that it had a dark history, one filled with tales of people who had vanished without a trace. It was said that the mirrors trapped their souls, making them part of the store's eternal collection. Emily's fear intensified as she realized the true extent of the store's curse. The mirrors were not just reflections, but gateways to a realm of torment. The store had claimed countless victims, each one trapped in the glass, their souls forever bound to the dark, twisting reality within. One night, Emily received a mysterious letter with no return address. It contained a single sentence. "The mirror never forgets." The note sent shivers down her spine, confirming her worst fears. The store was still watching her, waiting for the moment when she would be drawn back. Her paranoia grew as she noticed more reflections of the twisted face in mirrors around her. It was as if the store was reaching out to her, trying to pull her back into its dark embrace. She became a recluse, avoiding all mirrors and reflective surfaces, but the fear was inescapable. Despite her best efforts, Emily felt the store's influence creeping into her life once more. She was plagued by nightmares of the mirrors, seeing herself trapped in the glass, her reflection reaching out with a desperate plea. It was as though the store's curse was tightening its grip on her soul. Desperation led Emily to seek out others who had encountered the mirror store. She found a small group of survivors who shared similar experiences. They had also been marked by the store, their lives forever changed by the malevolent reflections that haunted them. Together they tried to find a way to break the curse, but the store's power was too strong. Each attempt to confront the mirrors only seemed to strengthen their hold. The store was a malevolent entity, and its influence seemed impossible to escape. Emily knew that she and her newfound friends were forever bound. As the years passed, Emily's once bright world became a shadow of its former self. The mirror store had claimed her, its dark influence seeping into every aspect of her life. She had bent the rules, but she had failed to heed their warnings. Now, trapped in the mirror's curse, she was a prisoner of the reflection she could never escape. Until next time, thank you.